I want to look at the printf statement, or how we're going to do print formatting using Java. There's a few resources. I mean, you could Google stuff to find more. I'll post this quick reference guide, which goes over some sort of the basics. We're not going to use it that much. It's useful for us for just formatting a print statement. Either maybe you have decimals, or if you have, sometimes if you want to put strings into a sentence without having to concatenate the strings, it can be useful. So this is the overall, not doing that right now. This is the overall syntax. These things are optional. So we have some flags. They're covered on that sheet. I'll come back for that. The width of the space that you want to take. If your thing that you're placing takes more space, it just adds to that. The precision is for when you're doing floating decimals, if you want a certain number of decimal points. So that's useful for money or things like that. And then the conversion character, and the conversion character tells Java which type of variable you're going to put in. So characters is a %C. You could use a capital C, it would uppercase your characters. %D would be for decimal or integer values, excuse me, integers. Decimal meaning base 10. It's really our integer types. Floating decimal points would be our floats, where the, floating decimals. And then strings, and again, if I use a capital S here, it would capitalize the string. So I just want to quickly go through some examples of this over in Eclipse. So we'll make a new class, and I just want to go into that source code folder in chapter 4. And we'll just call it print formatting examples. And sometimes if you're, well, it's fine. I was going to say we could put underscores between those words if we wanted to, but we don't need to. The camel case there is fine. I was going to do this in a little online compiler, a J shell, but I figured this is just easy. So we'll go through those online compilers in a bit, where they allow you to sort of operate Java as a shell if you just want to do snippets of code or something. But this is just as easy, and also it's actually a little easier because it'll catch us if we have any errors. So let's start off with just look at how the syntax works. So we'll go system out.printf. And maybe I'll just put a string in here. I'll say, hello, my name is, and then I want to put a string in. So I'm going to go %s for string, followed by a period. And then that's the first parameter of the printf method. And it's this %s tells us it needs one more parameter. And whatever goes here will be what goes in that sentence. So I'm going to put a variable here called name, which we don't have yet. So Eclipse is going to tell me I have an error. But I'm going to go back up above here and define this variable name to be equal to whoever is my name, for example. So I have a string, John, and I'm using a print formatting to print that sentence. And the advantage here would be, hello, my name is John. So the advantage is that I don't have to use, string concatenation. I can do this. I could put after the word is, there's a space, finish the quote, use a plus sign to add strings, add the name in the middle, use another plus sign after the name to put the period on the end. But this is just a more concise way to do it. Or, if you had several names, let's make it on, name 3, something starts with B. Okay. And let's change this one to something that starts with C, Cade, ABC. Okay, so I guess that would need to be name. Well, name 1 should be whatever. I was going to go ABC, but it didn't work very well. So then this name is no longer defined. Let's make it name 1. And we'll come down here, we'll do another one, system.out.printf. So for example, we might want to say, you know, %s here, Cade, comma, space, %s again, and %s again, went to the park, period, unquote, comma, and now it's looking for 3 things to fill into those 3 strings, and we're going to go name 1, actually let's go name 2, name 3, followed by name 1. That shows you that the order doesn't really matter, it just wants 3 variables. You could also, let's run this, see what happens. Something strange happened here. Hello, my name is Cade. So notice at the end of this first printf statement, the next thing printed right after it, on, bow, and Cade went to the park. And that's because the printf does not have a new line character at the end. So we're going to go back up here. We're going to insert at the end of this a new line character. And also at the end of this one, another new line character so that we don't run into that again. This is a very common thing. We're so used to print line that prints an extra line for us that we miss these the printf statements, the fact that we need to put \n in order to get to the next line. And I'm going to put a blank line in below that so we can do some formatting with numbers. So we'll just do a system.out printf again. And we'll so quote, your score is, and I'll put an integer in here, %d, unquote, and I want a period at the end of that, and a new line character. And then I could just put the score right here, 85. So this is obviously not very advantageous because I could just put 85 into the print statement, into the printf statement there instead. But let's see what that looks like. Your score is 85. If I wanted to have a variable integer score equals 85, then I could use the word score here. Your score is 85. What if it was 85%? So now it's a little bit weird because we're in this print formatting, and now we need an escape sequence for a % symbol because the % is telling us, oh, we need to put a variable there. So if you want to put a % symbol after that 85, you actually have to put 2%. And that's an escape sequence for the %. So I can comment that in here. In the printf, % is an escape sequence to print as %. And there's some commenting that explains why the % is there. Okay, so that could be useful, and we'll use it in a few minutes to. I'm going to do a table, a multiplication table for integers. But the real use for us will be sort of this first one is handy. I mean, just look at how easy that sentence is to print. Whereas if you think about before, you'd have to have the variable name, and then you'd add in the comma and the space, and then add another variable name and a space, and the word and a space, and then another variable name, and then the rest of the sentence would have to begin with a space. So it's awkward print statement. So let's look at it. I can put it right here. I mean, the advantage is a print line, but then I would have to say name 2 plus quote comma space plus name 1 or name 3 plus quote, let's see, space and space plus name1 plus quote space went ... to the park. So, you know, it's a lot of sort of typing in there when instead you can just use the %s modifier and do the same thing much quicker and easier. So, you know, it's up to us. But where some of the advantages come in is in the rounding. So, for example, system.out.printf. So I want to go string formatting. I want to go %. Oh, I need the quotes. Quotes. I just want to print pi %. Let's go with .5, and it's going to be a float. And over here, I want to put math.pi. And I'm hoping that will print pi to 5 decimal places, and it did. Okay, so why is that useful? You could say total, double total equals, you know, you owe me $500, but you only have to pay me 3 installments. So if I print total using a traditional print or print line statement, I'm going to get, you know, 1/3 of 500. Oh, again, notice what happened with my pi. I didn't put my \n here. It's a very common thing because we don't use the print formatting very much, so it's easy to leave it out. So you don't actually owe me. Let's make it, so that was integer division, so let's go 3.0, sorry. And so this, you know, 166.6666666 forever is not a very nice way to represent dollars, even if you put, you know, a $sign in front of it, and you add that to the total, still doesn't look very nice. And this is where the printf can be useful, or really useful. It's useful in many places, I'm sure. I'm going to put a $sign, and then I'm going to put .2 for the precision of the float, so that means go to 2 decimal places. And then I'll put the period. Maybe we'll put in you owe me in front of that. You'll pay me. You'll pay 3 installments of, and we'll go period \n at the end of that, end of the quote, and then for our arguments, we'll put the total here. So you'll pay me 3 installments of, so the $sign is for dollars, the decimal 0.2 is to go to 2 decimal places, the F is to tell it it's a double, and this is to have a period and a new line sentence at the end, and then what we're putting in here, oh, I need the % symbol, yes. % in front of the dot, the .2, so that tells it, well, this is the formatting right there. And we're formatting total, and then we run it. Pay 3 installments of 166.67. So you could see that becomes much easier to do. You know, there's more things we can do. We can, there's lots more things we can do, but just a couple quick and painless ones. Let's go with %, comma, I got to put it in quotes, sorry. %, comma, and then D. So we're going to be printing integer, whatever that is. So let's see, this is a little hard to see. So there's let's see, there's thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions. I think that's 120 million. It's a little hard to see, but this comma in front is what we call a flag. And if we go to here, the flags come up in front, and those are going to also be given on this sheet where I'm giving you all the flags, or at least probably not all the flags, but a bunch of the flags, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that could go in this first position, followed by the width, which tells you what the width does, the precision. So this sheet is kind of giving you a quick reference of how to use this stuff. But back here, I'm going to put the comma and then the D, and then I think it's 120 million. And I'm hoping, yep, that's going to print 120 million with the commas in there so I could see it better. Or I could do the same thing to the last one. Let's just take this line again. And let's pretend that instead of 500, it's 5,000 divided by 3. And then in here, let's see, it's going to be after the percent sign, you're going to need a comma. You can see, you know, it's very syntactical. Like this looks like if you just copy and pasted that bit of code, like what does that mean? So you have to recognize that we're in a printf. It's the percent sign that starts the formatting. The first thing is the flag, then there would be a width. So if I wanted to put a width in here, let's call a width of 10 here. That's going to provide a space of 10 spaces for whatever's getting formatted there. And point 2 is the precision, 2 decimal places for money, followed by the F. So that's the print formatting. Those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, how many characters that is. There's a period or new line character. Run it, see what happens. So this width padded in here some space. It justified it to the right, and this should be a total of 10 spaces. So one from the 7 over. So to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 2 more spaces there, 9, 10. And that's the padding. I mean, we could also make that 20, and you'll see that's going to spread it out even more. We wouldn't really want to because it would look weird. That looks weird. The 10's not bad, and that would allow us to line things up if we want things to line up in a certain manner. For example, if you had a bunch of different values. But what I did there was I added the comma in front, which is a flag that adds this comma, makes this number easier to see. Okay, so I think I'll stop here. I'm going to scroll down, and so you can see all the code and test it yourself. Maybe I'll just tighten these 3 up a little bit so we can see them together. This is the idea. You know, print formatting tends to be something that when you are familiar with using it, like up here with the strings, it becomes kind of a nice thing to print stuff out if you need to sort of get something printed quick and easy. It's more simple. But some of the harder formatting, unless you're doing it regularly. So if you're working at a bank and you have to constantly print out reports or something, then you'd be using some of this more technical spacing and formatting for fixed numbers. But if you're not using it very frequently, what happens is it's easy to sort of forget, and then you just look it up. You just look up what you need. We can look up everything we need on that print formatting sheet. So there it is. So try this. Maybe try some more on your own. And then I'm going to do one more assignment with it in a minute.